Hi there guys, in this video we're going to have a look at the Federal Gunship. I originally created a video a while back on it, however I felt after looking at it just a few days ago that I could do a new version and improve on the video quite a lot. So I've decided to do a remake of it. So the first thing we need to do is to go in the shipyard and have a look at the actual ship itself. Bear in mind these are beta prices, so they're a tenth of what they should be, plus there's a 10% discount because of Founders Well. Anyway, this ship has a top speed of 171 with a boost speed of 286. It has 1.2 maneuverability. So it has a sort of maximum range of about 16 light years, and it has a whole mass of 580 tons. With the internal compartments you can get up to about 168 tons of cargo space. It comes with a few think bits and pieces. So first thing to do is actually buy the ship and have a look at the cockpit of it. So in the cockpit we've kind of got these bars that go across on the left and right, which are a little bit in the way. The bottom of the ship obviously is covering quite a lot. So on our left we are kind of in a kind of little small cockpit, which you can see a sort of a drinks dispenser or something as such there. And on the right we've got pretty much the same again. So hopefully we've got two drinks dispensers for some reason. I guess maybe one's water, one's beer. So the next thing to do is to have a look at the internals, or the outfitting section. So in here we can see all the bits and pieces. So the first thing to do is have a look at the hardpoints. This ship does have quite a few. So it has one large hardpoint on the underside, which I'm going to just put something in so I can show you where they are later. For this I'm just going to put a beam weapon in for now. Next we have 4 medium hardpoints, all class 2 obviously. Most of these I think are on the underside, but again I'm going to have to put some weapons in and I'll show you later where these are. You have to just bear with me for a minute whilst I just put some weapons on. So this is at the front of the ship, and it's obviously the other side of the ship. They're both on the kind of lower section. The next set of class 2s are actually on the underside. So if I go and put something in there as well. And like I said, the other one is going to be kind of the opposite side to that one. I think I went in the wrong menu there. No, I'm going to go in browse. That's it. And then finally we have a set of small hardpoints, which I'm not a big fan of. I think the small hardpoints are quite weak on these sort of size ships, and all they do is kind of take up energy, but I suppose you might have a use for them in different purposes. Again, I will show you where exactly they are, but they're on the top of the ship. So again, I'm just going to put something in these as well. I'm going to put something slightly different in so I can show you so they look different. So that is the hard points. The next thing to do is have a look at the utility mounts. Here we have 4 utility mounts. These are for kill warrant scanners, shield boosters, cargo scanners, etc. Like I said, these are going to be enough for most cases. The next is to look at the core internal stuff. So obviously we've got bulkheads as we normally do. We have a range, obviously we have a lightweight, which is our default one. We have a reactive surface compost, which adds 87 tons. We have our mirrored, which again adds 87 tons, but obviously changes the resistances slightly. We have military grade, which is 87 tons, and we have our reinforced alloy, which adds 44 tons. Like I said, the prices are beta, so bear that in mind. We have a class 6 reactor, giving us up to 25.2 megawatts of power. It should be kind of enough. We have a class 6 thruster. I'll show you how quickly that turns later. We next have a frameshift drive of class 5, which is probably a little bit lower in some respects. I would like to see that possibly class 6, but anyway. Next we have a Class 5 environmental support or life support. Next we have a Class 7 power distributor. That's a bit higher than I was expecting. It's, I guess because of all the amount of weapons this ship's got. Next we have a Class 5 sensors or scanners. And finally we have our fuel tank, which is Class 4, which is only a 16 capacity. It would have been nice if that would have been slightly bigger, but I guess given the ship's role, I guess that's why it's got that size in. Next we have a look on the optional internals. For this we have two Class 6, which is actually capable of storing a fighter, believe it or not, which I did find it a bit strange, but fighter's obviously coming in 2.2. This gives you the ability to actually equip another little ship with you. Next we have a Class 5 slot. And then finally we have two Class 2, which gives us the ability to store up to 168 tons of cargo with no shield. Right, so with that done, we're getting told we haven't got a fighter and all that, and no crew. Like I said, this is coming in 2.2. So the next thing I need to do is assign a fire group to all these weapons. As you can see, it has a lot of weapons. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the sort of Class 1 stuff, but anyway, I'd rather have lesser hard points and better quality rather than loads of little ones. But again, I guess it depends on the role you're doing. So let's have a look at the external of the ship. I seem to notice a weird kind of bug with this ship when you kind of look at the external. Normally most ships put you the camera kind of directly looking at it, but on this one it seems to have put it under the ground. That seems to be the same with the assault ship also. Anyway, so this is how the ship looks. To me it's not very exciting, it kind of very underwhelming. It kind of looks a little bit like a sort of trade ship as such. As you can see, the cockpit is very much at the very front, giving you a very good visibility like that, and you can probably see them little bars just there. If we go down the side of the ship, we can see we've got more of this kind of grey and sort of white sort of colour scheme, which is very similar to that of the dropship. It's not the most exciting colour scheme, as you can see, but I guess it gets the job done. The next is to have a look at the back of the ship. As you can see, it's got some wings that stick out, but they don't really cause too much issue. On the back we have our sort of kind of drive units kind of built in. As you can see, they've just basically got the bit on the out bit, but other than that the engines are pretty much well contained inside the main body. Like I said, overall appearance I'm not a big fan of. I mean, obviously appearance is down to you. Like I said, it does look very boxy and squarey design compared to the Imperial ships that are very round and white and give us a nice little thing. But anyway, so the next thing to do is to get it into space and show you how it handles. As you can see, it's not the fastest ship about. It's a little bit sluggish given its price, and I do find them two bars on the left and right rather off-putting. It's a shame they can't remove them as such, because they are a bit off-putting to me. So anyway, we've got a speed of around about 190-ish, just under, with a boost of 305, say. So all in all, it's not too bad, but it's not the fastest around. Alright, so the next thing to do is to check its turn speed. I do like the fact the jet's sort of far at the front as you kind of slow down. You don't normally see that on most ships. So for this I'm going to do the engine at half power with 4 pips to engine. This is basically best case scenario with the best thruster. So let's see how quickly it turns. So that puts it around about 12 seconds in base case scenario, which is definitely not bad. I was expecting a lot worse than that. I suppose the next thing to do is to show you the weapon placement. For this I need to get away from the station as normal. Like I said, I don't want the cops going after me, so let me just get away.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage.
So let's have a look at the weapons. On here we have quite a few. I did put the class 1s on the left and the others on the right. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of weapons. We've got all our main weapons underneath, the medium and the large hardpoint. Then we've got our two small ones on the top, as you can see. Okay, so let's show you where these hardpoints are. So on the top, you can probably just about see them there, is our pair of small hardpoints. Obviously, like I said, small hardpoints aren't going to be that great, but that's where they are. Just, I would say pretty near the front of the ship. These are the only ones on the top. The rest of them are on the underside or near the front. So if we go to the next kind of set, which are, I believe, medium hardpoints, and you can see one's just to the right of the cockpit. The rest of them are underside, so we can see that we've got our huge hardpoint at the front, and then our two other mediums just behind it. So like I said, these are pretty good positioning for guns. The only ones I don't like is the ones on the top specifically, but the rest of them are pretty good. These are the other mediums I was on about just beside the cockpit, as you can just see there. So yeah, all in all, good positioning for weapons apart from the top. So overall on this ship, I would say it's not too bad. I'm not a big fan of the Federal ships myself. Obviously it depends on what role you're doing. If you look at it at the three key points, for trading, the 168 tons cargo space is a bit on the small size for given its price, just under about 36 million. And for exploration, I think the jump drive is going to be a bit too limiting, only giving you up to about 16 light years. Obviously the fuel tank isn't particularly large either. For combat, however, the ship does have a lot of hardpoints. However, they're not particularly high quality hardpoints, as such as they're not like large or huge hardpoints. The top set, I'm not too sure what you'd use them for. Maybe some sort of defense or something. However, the ship is capable of launching a fighter in 2.2, so that may give it some more functionality in some ways. I kind of do find the two handlebars in the cockpit being a bit off-putting. Unfortunately, that's the same case in the Federal assault ship, but also suffers the same fate. Overall, like I said, the ship is okay, but given its price, I feel it's a little bit lacklustre. Maybe I've missed something with this ship altogether. If you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know. I mean, there has been times that I have missed things, and when you've let me know, I've looked at it again and found what you was talking about. But overall, yes, I don't find the ship that exciting. It's quite expensive. Like I said, the introduction of the fighter may be useful. But yeah, anyway. So hopefully, guys, this is a bit better video than I posted way back. Should have gone through a few more points and even addressed a few things. If you have any suggestions or comment, leave them below. Liking the video always helps me if you can do that, and also subscribing is a big help. So thanks guys for watching, take care and have fun out there.